What's up, guys? So let's do a breakdown of the markets, what we're looking at into next week, and so on and so forth. First thing is today's Friday, the VIX, huge pop up into 30, pretty wild. So, I mean, we didn't get all the way to 30, we got to 29.66. Huge move in the VIX. I have fib levels plotted out. From what's previously happened before. And so like from this to this level here, and then from this most previous extension here, um, or that spike up down into this most recent low. So if we're looking at this, we can kind of see this is going to be a key resistance area. Just has been in the past and seems to continue to be. So what we're seeing here is we might, this is the level to get over for the VIX if we want to continue making this pretty crazy push. But all this started with a buy signal right here. So the buy signal right here, we had a squeeze firing off here. And then from there, we've kind of just continued. And then today we had the real pop. So that was a very nice move in the VIX. And actually, what's funny enough is we had a 4-hour buy signals into the close yesterday. So 4-hour buy signal, 4-hour buy signal, and then we had this huge pop into this resistance area. So this $28 area is going to be key resistance, but we're going to look at, we can use these squeezes to give us direction on whether we're going to head higher or not, so on and so forth, and help us gauge what's going on with the index. So you can see kind of like last time we had buy signals here, it pushed us up into a breakout, which looks similar to what is going on here. So let's move on from here. So taking a look at the indexes, drawing out our key levels, we drop down to the lower time frames. We're at a spot where we are rejecting this 1272 from this swing here, and then the 1272 from the weekly time frame. That was this swing to this swing here that led us into a new all-time high and fired off the most recent squeeze. So now when we're looking at this, it's like, okay, well, right now, I think before we can even consider going long, we need to get above this resistance here. You can see we've kind of been rejecting it all day. If we drop down to the 5-minute, you can see we rejected, came up, rejected, came up, rejected. So, and we're just bear flagging right below this resistance. So, I think the big key is we have to get over that level before we can even consider a reversal. Okay. So that's that. So right now, SPY is bear flagging. We have a 4-hour that 4-hour squeeze here, and we'll see if this kind of continues to develop and what happens from there. But right now, I'm thinking, okay, we're probably starting to form a squeeze here. We're probably starting to form a squeeze on the 15-minute. And it's like, okay, we may see a move triggered lower based on this because of this consolidation, and we might see it triggered lower. So that's what we're looking at here. And it's a similar story to QQQ. We actually have a pretty similar resistance. It's actually got more confluence here. So if we look at where are these levels coming from, right? So the 1272 extension from the swing high to the swing low, and there's our resistance level. And so it's the 1272 there. And then on the weekly time frame, you can see this is that previous high before the squeeze fired off and made a nice move up on that. So that's also something to be aware of. So, and then finally, we have the 1272 that is created from this swing low. Let's adjust this a bit. That swing low to that swing high. And so what we're looking at now is, okay, we're running into this resistance, and it's the same story as SPY. You drop down to the 5-minute, come up, reject, come up, reject, come up, reject, and now we're just trading below it. So for us to be able to go long, we need to be above this resistance area. Okay, so that's what we're looking at here. And then we've got a little bit of resistance here, and then we've got more of a key resistance right in this area right near 630. So that's what we're looking at for QQQ. And then if we go look at DIA, we had a nice breakout on this one. It looks like, we'll check, but looks like we may be seeing a reversion to the mean. Yeah, so we got a reversion to the mean for DIA. We still have a buy signal on the weekly time frame, but I'd really like us to clean up before considering to go long on this. I want to see some lower time frame buy signals and not necessarily such a strong downtrend. That's going to be dependent on SPY, tech. The Dow is going to have a hard time heading higher if it's not supported by the tech. So the Dow needs tech in order to push us higher. Okay. So, or at least not continuing to fall. Okay. So then we can go look at the sectors. So ranking these sectors from strongest to weakest. You can see here the VIX and bonds are pushing. So one thing we need to be aware of is that bonds are absolutely pumping. So for this, we can look at some levels, but this is actually a good thing for rates. If the ZB is popping, that means the VIX is actually moving lower. Or sorry, that didn't make any sense. If the ZB is moving higher, this means interest rates are moving lower. So that's actually a pretty good thing. So, and looking at that, you can see on the weekly time frame, we'll go here and we'll take the extensions. We'll probably take this one to this one. See what it ends up doing from there. Adjust this level, color it differently so we can tell. Okay, so what we're looking at is next spot, we're probably going to head into this resistance area right here. And then from there, we're going to be looking at, okay, can we make it up into this resistance from the monthly time frame? And we kind of just play this level by level. Right now, the squeeze is fired off. We have increasing volume every candle. So there's no reason to believe this won't continue, right? So that's ZB. We have to be aware of that. This has some very nice strength on it right now. Increasing volume, moving to the upside. So this could be trying to stage a reversal. The weekly time frame, massive inverse head and shoulders. So I don't love playing these patterns, but we have to be aware of what's going on here. So if we did want to play this, because this is one of the stronger things in the market, we would go to TLT, we'd go to lower time frame and look for a buy signal to trade it. So here's buy signals here. We go, there's buy signals right here, and we can just continue to trade it. 5 minute, I don't really use the 5 minute, but you can see they play out. But using these lower time frames, we can get in on this strong uptrend. This is probably the next thing that's going to continue to head higher. So let's throw that in here. This is where momentum is right now. So meaning by there's momentum here right now, we're looking at things like when Tesla had momentum back here. We want to trade these things that have strong momentum and kind of these parabolic moves. And then you drop down to your 15-minute, you drop down to your 30-minute time frame. Let's add some days here. So you can see buy signals here, and then buy signals here, buy signals here, buy signals here. And that's how we get caught up in the action of these huge breakouts, right? If you didn't catch the buy signals here. So that's how you do that. So what we're going to be looking at now is different stuff that I'm watching into next week. If we're looking at the sectors and we can kind of continue through, one of the ones that I do really like is XLP. This thing has some pretty solid strength. So really weird day. So for me personally, I did take a position and bought calls yesterday, caught it and sold at the 1272 extension. for about 55%. It was a pretty good trade, but I am looking to add back into this. You can see we've got increased volume. We have buyers stepping in on this. We've got setups on so many different time frames. The weekly, the 3-day, the 2-day, the daily, the 4-hour. Let's see if it keeps going. The 2-hour. And yeah, that's it for now. So though we have buy signals on all those time frames. So if we get any dip, like maybe into this recent support here, I think that's a buying opportunity. I'm not comfortable buying in right now because I just don't like the way this candle looks. I took my money and ran with it. I've played the pops in this a couple times already, and I don't like the way this candle looks. So I'm going to wait and see how it opens up Monday. If it breaks above this 1272, or honestly, we'll just throw it on here. And if we get a lower time frame buy signal, we'll just buy it, right? So that's what we're looking at here. This could be the next thing that has a nice breakout. So that's what we're looking at here. Is there anything that really catches my eye other than that? XLU, not really. We just got a 15-minute buy, and then XLV, they've got earnings, so I'm not watching that too heavily. So now let's move kind of to the watch list here. So if we're looking at the watch list, you can see a couple of things developing. So first and foremost, something that I do really like is the 15-minute here, or sorry, the setup in Netflix. You can see we traded up. Oh, sorry about that. We traded upside and then basically had a reversal and then had earnings, and we've kind of been just slow grind lower, right? But one thing that I want to note is that we have had these continuation sell-offs, and I'm thinking now that we are below this support level of about 1620, I'm thinking that that opens the door back up to 600. So I am looking next week to potentially get short Netflix. We do have a sell signal on the 4-hour and the 2-hour, but we are kind of far from that 21 EMA. So if we can get a pop back up into maybe the support area right here, or that's now resistance, then we can look to potentially start a position in this and catch the move to the downside. So this is a good looking setup. And I'm thinking that now that we broke below this level, we could head back down to 600-ish, that 601.80 area. Okay. So that's Netflix. From there, we have Google. So Google is really the only other thing on my board right now. And then we'll talk a little bit about semiconductors. So Google, we're down 2.5%. Now this is in the same sector as Netflix. So we have to be aware that these are pretty much the same setup, or at least very similar, right? If we go down to the lower time frames, we do have a 2-hour sell signal. So for this one, I'm looking to see, okay, if we can get a continuation to the downside and get some more lower time frame sell signals, then we can start to put a position in for this one to go revisit this previous high here, which is also the 1272 extension. As long as it stays below this resistance here, I think it opens up the door for a move back to 160. So I am looking at this as well. So those are kind of the setups I'm looking at. You can see here on this sell-off here, we had earnings and then high volume candles. You can see we had high volume candles on the sell-off here. And then now we had a high volume candle, ultimately just kind of hanging out in between this resistance level here and then the low here. So I am interested to see, okay, can we have a continuation to the downside in this as well? And then from there, most of the trading is going to be paying attention to the indexes, paying attention to the VIX, paying attention to those things. So that's kind of what I'm watching into this week. Here's the names with strength. ZB, so interest rates, the VIX, interest rates are stronger than the VIX, which is crazy. XLU, so safety, real estate, safety, and then healthcare because they got earnings coming up and we're seeing a little bit of run into that. And then weakness we're seeing in oil, airlines, semiconductors, and things of that nature. The SPY and QQQ have started to work their way up further on the board, but ultimately they are definitely still weak. So that's the watch list. That's what I'm paying attention to. A lot of it we got to take day by day. For example, like this week, the main trade that I took was QQQ puts on the 30-minute. And so we had a 30-minute sell signal. We had 15-minute sell signals. And so we got in here and caught this flush down into this, basically this previous low. So I'm just keeping an eye on that and going from there and kind of just trading the signals as they come, right? We're looking for multiple time frame buy signals or sell signals, and then we're basically running with that. And we're going to trade it that way and look for the setups to play out. So the best thing to do right now is kind of sit back, play the indexes, play small. I've been trading a lot of futures here, but I think one thing that can save you is focus on these cash charts. These will save you. You can see here, this was a pretty obvious trend line break. And if we get rid of this here, you can see it was a flush right into that support and then the previous low. So I'm thinking that we can see a pretty nice move one way or the other once the market figures out which way we want to break out. But we have to get above this resistance level, maybe potentially a break above, a retest, form a squeeze, and then we pop back into 460. That's an option. Or we just get some sell signals to short us back down into 440. So those are kind of the different options. We got to play it day by day. The market's crazy right now, so we just have to play it day by day. But that's the setup here. And that's kind of my approach going into next week. I'm going to keep a focus on these main indexes and then also have a focus in on the key stock or key sectors. So the ones with strength, TLT, XLP, XLU, real estate, and keep an eye on the VIX to help me gauge direction more next week. So I hope this helps. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.